Welcome to AltJake Takes On. And here's AltJake.
Hello again, everybody. This is AltJake. You're listening to AltJake Takes On, episode number 16. After a pretty busy weekend of wrestling, I've got my buddy George with me here as always. How you doing today, my friend?
Hola, ¿cómo está?
Still in the Worlds Collide mindset, I see. I like it. I wanted to give a big shout out to AEW Disciplinary Committee for coming on Spaces on Sunday. I know you didn't have a lot of time that you could give us, but he gave us an amazing hour. If you guys haven't heard that yet, I highly recommend going on the YouTube page and watching that. I think it's about 55 minutes. It's just a great conversation with Dis talking about all sorts of different things, most of it around being the R-Truth situation, but I just want to give him a special shout out. And I know we've got a couple of guests coming up. We've got Evil Dose coming up this week, and MJ from NJ, WrestleGraphs, Some X Error, whatever you want to call him. We've got him on the next Sunday. And if you want to hear a preview of him, I uploaded a video of about 15 minutes of when he came in our spaces on May 25th. So we've got a lot in the pipeline and a lot coming up, but I'm pretty excited.
Are you going to be anywhere by any chance?
Am I going to be anywhere? Absolutely. Yes.
Oh, really?
I actually have a couple of things. Yeah. I am out. I am just spreading my wings, flexing my muscles out, kind of going out a little bit further. I will be doing an hour with Chris Connor on the Last Call podcast. I know we're recording it tomorrow. I'm not sure how he processes and puts them together, but that'll come out this week. And then the big one, I think, is the live with SC Maniacs with Don Wayne and Johnny Bottles. That'll be this Thursday. I believe it's at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, because they gave it to me and it's 4 o'clock my time. So that'll be live on their page. I'm really excited. This will be my first foray outside of anything that wasn't us or PWT. So it's kind of getting out of my comfort zone, but I'm really excited about it. And feel like I'm going to have a lot to talk about as we'll get into since where I was last night as well. So it's pretty damn exciting.
As your booking agent, remember 10%.
So I was just going to say, I respect you, Booker man. I appreciate you. I was saying it on Spaces on Sunday. George is the one who he's kind of like, a booking agent. Age is a good way of putting it. He kind of puts the feelers out there, gets our guests to come for the Sunday shows, which is amazing because I'm the one doing all the technical stuff behind the scenes. So we both really investing our time and effort into this. And what we'd appreciate from you as the listener is just subscribe, share it with your friends. We're trying to bring more people in. We're almost at 180 subscribers. I feel like the last time we recorded, we were almost at 170. So we keep growing. We're definitely expanding out, and the more subscribers and the more that we can do there, the more content we can put out for you guys. And we've got a lot of cool things coming up. We've got some good stuff for not only this show, but the booking agent has some other things that he's booking for us. I know he keeps me somewhat in the loop. I know a portion of what's coming up, but not even I know all the pots he's got on the stove right now that he's cooking.
You really can't promise 100% because you really don't know. Life happens and stuff.
Right. So. But hey, the fact that even the conversations of people being interested at all is better than, a non-answer or, the immediate, thanks, but no thanks. I feel like,
definitely.
Well, I also think there's a good word of mouth amongst the people that we've had as guests. I think it's how we were able to get multiple people now from the Toonie Talk Wrestling crew. Awful was able to kind of put in a good word, and Kevin enjoyed it, and now Dis had it. I mean, Dis at the end of the conversation said that was the most fun spaces or the best spaces he's been a part of, and can't really ask for much more than that as somebody as people who are new into the game and trying to do it. Hey, he even said I was good people. So I mean,
I saw that. Yeah.
Gotta have him full a little bit. No, I'm kidding. That was awesome. That was a great conversation, and I'm really excited for what we've got coming up ahead. And anytime we don't have a guest, it'll just be open mic, Q&A, open forum session. So if you've got questions or things you want to bring in, I actually had someone DM me that had put in a request at the end of our session on Sunday, and I missed it. So I told him make sure the Q&A session that we've got there, I've got him guaranteed to get a spot. We want to be involved with as many people as possible. So.
Well, you do. I don't.
Fair enough.
I'm kidding.
Hey, it's great. It's one of these things of I didn't realize how much I enjoyed that stuff and how much I really was going to love it, because it is something that, I really do look forward to it every week. And it's, you come out of those Sunday spaces. I'm jazzed up. I'm excited. It's too much. It's not too much fun, but it's just the right amount of fun for me. But we've got a lot of stuff we want to cover here today. Is there anything that you wanted to bring to the table or get off your chest before we get started into our cover the crazy weekend that was in wrestling?
Not that I think of. No.
Yeah.
No, that's unusual for me. Usually I got something.
Yeah. Hey, well, I feel like I can at least cover it. You usually try to get their housekeeping stuff out of the way. And
yeah, it's all done.
Yeah, I feel like as the main, the lead voice, I guess, of the show, I should be better, trying to get better at that. I'm not as great with the promotion and tell everybody to like and share and subscribe. But we're getting there. We're getting there. We're professionally unprofessional. We're learning. But might as well get into the weekend that was, and we'll obviously start with the big one that was this Saturday of Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank. The double show. First off, I just thought overall the way it was presented was done very well, with being on YouTube for the pre-show and then for Worlds Collide. And then it was smart to have the Money in the Bank pre-show on YouTube as well. But the entire time, like, get over to Peacock or Netflix in the internationally, get over to Peacock. I thought it was done very well and worked out smoothly, at least for anybody that I talked to about it. But I think it was also a very big surprise for how successful Worlds Collide was. I mean, I knew it was going to be a fun and exciting show, but I didn't expect to see as many people watching it. George will give you the numbers. He's got them there for how many, just the YouTube watches alone, but also the positivity that we saw, not only on social media, but even on our spaces on Sunday. Not only this, but we had Pro Wrestling Counselor and 3 or 4 other people jumped in on Sunday, and everybody was putting not only it over, but the big star of the Worlds Collide show, Mr. Iguana.
I was never sure if that was a real iguana at first, and I'm like, okay, it's an actual fake one.
Yeah, honestly,
I wasn't sure. I'm not gonna...
Yeah, I assumed it was, but I knew nothing about this guy. I had seen his name before and like the little few clips they'd showed on WWE television, but this is one of those things where this is kind of the fun of Lucha Libre. It's more of a, I don't want to say cartoon, but more of like an over-the-top show presentation and stuff like this. And this guy's a big part of it. I'm not sure if anybody got more over this weekend than Mr. Iguana. Apparently his was the highest selling t-shirt of the Worlds Collide weekend. And I think I think some of the things have already been sold out on WWEshop.com. So good for this guy, man. I feel like he's the combination of Goldust and Santino, but in the best ways, at least from what we saw. Granted, it was only the one match, but I got super over.
Yeah, this was interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean,
very interesting.
The whole thing was, I thought it was presented as well as it could be for Lucha Libre television or Lucha Libre on WWE television. It wasn't treated as lesser than, it wasn't made into a joke, but they were able to do the Lucha fun stuff, but have mostly very good matches. There wasn't, one of the downfalls of Luchas. There is a lot of botches sometimes, or people, as I always talk about, they try to do the difficulty of 9 or 10 with an execution of 6 or 7. I feel like Saturday was a lot closer to like, hey, it's a difficulty of 8 and I got an execution of, 7 or 8. And so they were nailing most of it, and also having the WWE experienced talent being able to kind of work with them, which was something that you brought up on spaces that we'll get into as we get into the main event of it. But I thought it was done very well, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was going into it wanting to have a good time, but they made it easy to have a good time. And then the fan reactions and interactions and the live watch-alongs during the show or during Worlds Collide, it seemed like everybody enjoyed it.
Yeah, you knew my attitude going into it. I wasn't going to watch it at all.
Yeah, no, I mean, we talked about it going into the preview show that we did. Yeah. That I was happy that we did. It was kind of a good thing, but it wasn't something that we previewed more of Money in the Bank than we did Worlds Collide, because I really only knew like the main NXT storylines of it. But I thought it was done very well. It made everybody look good, at least from all ends of it that I saw. We had the fun moment where I don't feel like it was Stephanie Vacquer's swan song with NXT and AAA. I thought that was done very well for her. She got to go out on a high note. Also kind of gave the rub to Lola Vice as kind of like, she's the next, Latina star, maybe. I'm not sure exactly how that worked, but it seemed very cool to me of how it was done. And as we were talking off air before we got on, Lola Vice is the real deal, man. People got to remember she comes from the world of MMA. So not only is she a looker, but if you look too hard, she might kick your ass.
Yeah, the two women in this match they went against were unbelievably great.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was gonna set you up for that because we talked about it on Spaces as well about how well they both looked and how professional it came across. And those two really got to shine. I know it was Chick Tormenta, and I don't know if it's Dalys or Dalys. Dalys. All right, there we go. They were very impressive. Now, a lot of that I'm sure is they'd worked with Stephanie before, and I'm sure Stephanie was kind of like the ring general of that one, but it was a great match.
Those two women were the ring general of that match. You could tell.
But yeah,
the one's 40 and the other one's 50.
Right, I was gonna say, yeah, and neither of them looked it. And athletically, I thought it was fantastic. So again, more putting people over well and showing them, presenting them in the best light, giving them the best chance to show their strength. People were talking. The negative IWC trolls that wanted to dislike this, that were talking about how it was going to be, they were going to bury the AAA talent, make them look silly and squash them and look dumb. And it was the furthest thing from that. It wasn't really about who won and who lost in most of the matches. They were able to put on a great performance and a good show.
The only thing I noticed was the only problem the AAA talent had was with the ring and the ropes. Like ring was, I think the ring's a little bigger in WWE and the ropes are different too. So they were having some problems, but they made
the ropes for sure, because I know, most companies use their, the jet to the airline cables or whatever, and WWE doesn't. But I don't know about the ring size. I haven't watched enough AAA.
It's different.
Yeah, we're not talking like, Australian Grand Slam 14 by 14 rings, but I'm sure, I don't even think it's the 16. I think it's probably like the 18 by 18, but I know WWE does the 20 by 20. And yeah, I felt like that was also too, where they were able to have the right people in place with like the Legato guys and the LWO gang of being able, and even why Lindsay Dorado was kind of brought in, because he's kind of more in a training role, in a coaching position now in his career. He's still working some, but he's kind of transitioning in there. So you have him in there to be able to make sure that if there is anything that goes wrong, they're able to pull it off and make it work. So yeah, no, I definitely enjoyed that part of it. Ethan Page, I thought, also made a great showing for himself actually everybody really in the North American title match made a great showing for themselves. Especially as we've said before, Javon Evans, he looked great in it. He didn't look like he was out of step at all with the luchadors or with lucha style, but clearly with his athleticism, it wasn't going to be an issue. I just thought that, it could have happened with his psychology. He might not have had issues with it, but he seemed to fit right in. And
he must have made friends with people too.
I think he definitely did. He's one of those people that he just seems like he's just so charismatic, like he's just like, you just can't not like him. And to that point, he was at the end of the main event. They put Vikingo on the shoulders after having an amazing match with Chad Gable. You look at all the talent out there, but look over to the right. Look at the one guy there. That's Javon Evans is out there. I just feel like he seems to get along with everybody. I don't see how anybody could not like that kid. I mean, he's confident in himself, but he's not too cocky. He's a great talent. He's clearly willing to learn. He's ready to learn and grow. And yeah, no, I think that kid's got a bright future, but that was definitely cool to see. With the Vikingo and Gable match, that was, as we've said, like there was a reason Gable was in that match. There was a reason that Chad Gable was the opponent, because Vikingo sometimes needs people to slow him down, kind of keep him, let him, make sure you breathe. It'll be okay. But I thought it was a good match. I thought it was fun.
Gable did the best he could. But Vikingo's, I'm not being critical. I'm just saying Vikingo's full of zip. And I'm assuming he's still a young dude.
Oh, for sure.
But he's just not careless either. What's the word?
I don't think it's careless. I think
it's not.
It's too fast. He's just working too fast, which happens a lot with folks. You hear, it's one of the top things you hear from the older guys or the territory wrestlers, or even coaches nowadays of that, hey, slow it down, take a breath, let things settle. I mean, that's, sometimes people criticize my criticism of AEW because I say they don't sell, and people are like, oh, he's hobbling on his leg. But I'm like, people, they don't let anything breathe. Like if a move's pulled off, then they're going to get up and do another one and then another one, as where, pull off one, maybe two, and then let the crowd settle, let them digest what happened and enjoy it and get into it, as opposed to just spam. And that was why when WWE bought AAA and Vikingo was kind of being heavily featured, I was excited to at least see what he would do in this world, because I feel like in what we saw of him in AEW and even TNA, he was kind of just let him do whatever he wants, do his big moves, and unfortunately that's going to end with a lot of botches. So I thought Gable did very well with him. As we've seen, there's a reason why Gable is in the position that he's in and why he was Penta's first opponent when Penta debuted. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
you're gonna find out what they think of Vikingo pretty quick. They got a rematch scheduled against Del Rio already. So,
oh, do they? I didn't know that. All right, okay, that makes a lot of sense. That okay, good to know. That makes a lot.
You're gonna find out what they think pretty fast,
right? Yeah, no, that is kind of like right there in front of. I'm hoping, and it seems that he's done well for himself, and then I'm assuming that he's putting work into the PC where he can, and they're giving him the best chance to succeed. So best of luck to him. I hope he kills it. I really do. I really do. But yeah, that kind of leads us into the next show of it, as we'll show back to here. Money in the Bank. They let off with the women's Money in the Bank, and to the surprise of some, the more I thought about it, it really did make a lot of sense that Naomi was the Ms. Money in the Bank. She was the one who she was able to fight and get to it. I thought that maybe Jade would prevent her from winning. Now I'm starting to think that maybe Jade will be the reason that the women's Money in the Bank no longer has 100% success rate after Naomi tries to cash in, but not quite sure. But I definitely enjoyed the match. I thought it made a lot of sense because, Julia and Vaquer, they're a little bit too new to the main roster, and same with Roxanne. Really, they were more good to be in them. It's kind of like an Oscar. They were just happy to be nominated, be in the match, have a good showing, perform well, get yourself over with the audience. But I didn't think any of them were going to be the ones to win it. And Rhea would have probably made a lot of logical sense, but she doesn't need it. I mean, she's always in the title picture, no matter what happens with her. So, but I enjoyed it. I definitely thought it was a good match overall. And I wasn't surprised that it led off the show as well. So I was definitely impressed with it.
I picked Julia, so I was wrong.
I mean, I get it. They would have made sense in a lot of ways of how they're presenting them to kind of push them to. I just think it was a little bit too soon to push him into that spot. Now with Julia, I could have seen maybe they have her go for the US title with it, but I feel like that just diminishes the Money in the Bank. And she's clearly going to be in a program with Zelina, and I don't see any way she doesn't beat Zelina. I don't see any way she doesn't win the title. But since this is the WWE PLE, we will give this a ratings match. We still don't really have a category or a specific, we'll still call them star rankings for now, but as we do, 1 through 4, 4 being the best, 1 being a dud. I thought this match was solid. I would say it was probably a solid 2.5 even with it, because I did like the finish, and I'm excited to see where they're going to go with Naomi as Ms. Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I had it as a 2. It was good.
Yeah, no, that tracks.
Good start. Perfect.
Yeah. One of the things that also was cool that came out of Worlds Collide was that Dominic got on the mic there and challenged Octagon Jr. to a Intercontinental title match that they had on at Money in the Bank, which I thought was great. A good way of tying the shows in together. Also lets Dom be a part of the Worlds Collide show, even though he wasn't wrestling on it, which I thought was great with his ties to Eddie Guerrero, and that being kind of how he was first seen by most American audiences at the original Win, which is funny. People call them the same, but that one was called Win Worlds Collide. This one was just Worlds Collide. But I thought this was good. I thought this was fun. Man, Dominic is he's really come into his own. I'm surprised how good he actually is. Not only at getting heat and the psychology, but the kid's a damn good wrestler now. Like when you see him, like he's pulling off his moves well. He's got good pacing. He lets things breathe because he's still a chicken shit heel. He sneaks his way out of the ring or does little things of stuff. We'll talk about it when we get into Monday Night Raw as well, of just stuff he did there. It's really, really cool to see how good things are going well for this kid, at least for me.
He sounds badass when he speaks Spanish.
Yeah, he really does. He's just got that look. My brain automatically goes back to, when he was teaming with Ray and you were just like, get this Nepo baby out of here. He's terrible. And it's just, I felt, the thing was, I felt bad about it because, he seemed like a likable, like a nice kid. You could see he was trying hard. For any of us that are old school fans that remember the ladder match with Ray and Eddie and that whole, the match was one thing, but all those vignettes and like in the park and all that gets like, it's great to see him, evolve into an adult, but just, he was such a bland and boring baby face. And I'm not sure if there's ever been a bigger 180 from one turn than what happened with Dom. Because he was, just with how bad it was with him as a baby face to how good it became.
I was happy to see during this match. If you look at the ring poll, look who the sponsor was.
The 7-Eleven.
7-Eleven.
Yeah.
We don't have any here, so it kind of sucks.
It's funny.
But I haven't seen him in a while, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, because I'm here. That was in LA, and I'm obviously here in Phoenix. Like we have them here, and they are in LA as well. But you do feel like Circle K's are normally the one you see the most of, which always makes me think of Bill and Ted with strange things are afoot at the Circle K. But I give this match a solid 2. Like there wasn't anything special, wasn't anything bad. It was also very quick. I don't feel like it was I don't think it was like a long match at all. I feel like it went.
Yeah, I had it for 2 as well.
Perfect. Yeah, it makes sense. The next one was Lyra and Becky for the women's IC title. Becky won, got Lyra to raise her head at the end. This match was mostly filler, in my opinion. Like, it's fine. I get it. Makes sense to put the title on Becky. This one's a little bit harder for me to sink my teeth into in this storyline.
And I've come across the other way now.
Oh yes, I like it.
Somehow I'm starting to like Lyra. I don't know what's going on, but I'm liking where she's going.
Okay, that makes sense. Now I've never been on the train that was completely like there's a lot of people that are just very anti-Lyra. They don't like her at all.
Just because of the stupid wings.
Yeah, I'll give you that. And see for me,
get rid of the wings, they could take her seriously.
Yeah, and look, it does really open her up. Like even with Becky can call her Bird Lady, like it really just it doesn't work. And if anybody is an Always Sunny in Philadelphia fan with the R's, just makes you think of that. And then it's one of the other reasons why Ospreay doesn't get over as well, to be honest, because it's a goofy look there too. Like this match was fine. I would say probably like 1.5 for me. Like just nothing special.
I had it for 2. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it more than I thought I was gonna.
Nice. Hey, that's awesome. That's great. That's one of the reasons we do this show. One of the reasons not everything's going to agree. We're not always going to be on the same page.
I like where it may go. We'll see.
That's true. The follow up on Raw, there was some stuff there, and seeing what's going to happen with the return that happened on Raw, that was pretty good for sure. Next up was the men's Money in the Bank match, which I thought was very good. I very much enjoyed this. There were some not only great spots in the match, but there was some pretty cool storytelling too with I guess you would call it the Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker coming out to help Seth, and then the JC Mateo and Jacob Fatu coming out, which then got to that amazing moment of I hate you Solo, which we've all been wanting and waiting for, which for me, if nothing else, that really got that moment was amazing. And that was probably the moment I popped for the biggest in this match, because, for me, when we talked about in our preview show, I didn't see any way this match was ending without Seth winning it. So that made a lot of sense there. It was kind of an easy one to predict on that part of it.
Yeah,
but I really did enjoy the spots in the match. Shout out to Gable, man, to being able to have that match with Vikingo that, mean, it's a lucha match, so he's got to remember all the crazy spots and all the stuff you're going to do in that one. And then what, 2.5, 3 hours later, you're in a 6-man ladder match? That's pretty intense.
The only thing that was dopey to me was Solo's little acting bit there when he was trying to like be cool and get Jacob to move the ladder for him, and he's doing all that acting shit that I didn't care for. But
yeah, that
was a bit much.
That was what I did like from Solo was like, I like his comedy stuff, like when he was making fun of Penta and doing the stuff there. Like, you know, Solo is very talented and super underrated. I'm wondering it. You know, I'm excited to see the feud with Jacob. I mean, if nothing else, it should be a hard-hitting affair. It'll be fun. I'm assuming that'll be the SummerSlam match between the two of them for the U.S. title, but we'll see. You know, I would say the downfall of this one, not downfall, but the silly part of this one was the fireball ladder. Like, clearly once they pulled that out, you knew that was going to be the ladder that won it. I mean, I'm not one to really be that upset about the adverts. Like, I get it. Like, it's part of, I always think, you know, hey, as long as the talent and everybody's making money and being well taken care of, I'm not going to have a problem with it. But that just seemed kind of silly in that sense. Like, I don't mind it on the tables because it's going to be on all of the WWE tables. Like, that's fine. I just feel like the one ladder having the Fireball logo was kind of like a little much, a little over the top. But what are you going to do?
Yeah, I didn't care for it.
Yeah, right.
Like, and the color of it. And I'm like, God,
yeah.
dang it.
And just them pointing it out and saying it over and over again. Yeah. And I mean, like, that's one of the reasons I grabbed this picture, because it was cropped out of it. Because, like, you know, you knew that. And I mean, like I said, it makes sense. It is what it is. And I have no problem with the ads, like, in the ring, like you pointed out on the buckles there. I mean, that, if nothing else, that gives it more of that real sports feel. I mean, watch a baseball game and look at the walls that's, you know, there, or, you know, soccer teams and even basketball teams now have the logo or the advert on their jerseys. It's just part of the process. It's capitalism. It's all there to make money. But Seth winning, obvious. That one, at least, like I said, to me, was pretty obvious. Makes a lot of sense. I am very interested into how he's going to cash it in. I just assumed it was going to be the heel way of make him even more heel by, like, taking it off of Jay. You know, I thought actually what was going to happen was I thought he was going to take it from Jay on Raw. I thought that Jay would sneak out a win on Gunther and be beaten down and, you know, barely able to stand. And then he, you know, Seth and Breaker were going to come out, have Breaker spear him, Bronson Reed tsunami him, Seth stomp him, match over. But we'll see how this goes. It could be fun to see what Seth does with the Money in the Bank title, or Money in the Bank crease.
Yeah, I don't want to see it go too long, though.
Yeah, I agree.
The longer it goes, the more you have all that. Is he going to cash it in here? Is he going to cash it in here?
Yeah, and I feel like
not sooner the better, but
yeah, and I feel like you can't have both of them doing that, for, like, because then it does get in the way. Like, I thought last year was probably the best they could have done it. Drew wins it, cashes it in same night. Punk costs him, furthers that storyline. Tiffany wins hers, and then does tease it for a while, and then puts herself into a storyline where we all knew she was going to take it from Nia at some point. We just didn't know when. Luckily for me, it happened to be here in Phoenix at the first SmackDown of the year, and I got to see it live, which was one of the cooler things you could see, because I feel like not many people, I mean, there's not that many people that can say they've seen a cash in live. So that was fun. Never mind, it was a world title change, which is always enjoyable. But yeah, I thought this match was very good. I think for me, I would probably give this a solid 3 because of all of the storylines that came out of it. This made the most sense. There were some very cool spots, but there wasn't too much contrived in it. Actually, scratch that. I'll bring it down. I'll go to 275. The fireball ladder knocks off a quarter point for me.
I had 2.5.
All right, that's cool. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And then the main event of Cody and Jay versus Cena and Logan Paul. Cody and Jay got the win. This was a very fun match. I was kind of surprised that there wasn't, Rock or Travis Scott at the end or during it of some sort, but I thought it was very fun. I thought it was enjoyable. I'm in, obviously with there was the run in that we did get with We're gonna call him Ron Killings now or R-Truth. I feel like if he's got the hair, you call him R-Truth. But once if he cuts it, it's Ron Killings. But I thought this was cool. I thought it was a great way for them to end the match, put this in. Sorry, everybody who thinks it's a real situation. I'm still convinced it's a work. Maybe, like I said, his contract probably did expire, and they used that to their advantage in the story.
Yeah, I'm not getting into that conversation. Yeah. It's gonna make my head spin again.
Yeah, I mean, just right here. I mean, just look at that face. I mean, he knew what he was doing. But neither here nor there. We got into that. I was saying that to be a tease to go listen to our most recent clip from Spaces. It's the 50-minute interview with Dis. We get into the weeds about it, of what we think, what could have happened, what we think happened. You know, making fun of the dirt sheets we're trying to scramble around. But I thought it was a great way to turn this match into the favor of Jay and Cody for them to win. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was, as I like to say, I was thoroughly sports entertained.
Yeah, these angles and stuff like this used to happen constantly in the 70s and 80s and stuff. Like these angles would happen every day. You'd wonder you'd wonder what happened. Like Jerry Lawler gets hit by a car. People call the cops.
But that didn't happen in the same territory every day, though. They would happen in Florida and in Memphis and in, Portland. So, but in the one federation, in one TV show, you don't want it happening too much. I think they've got a good mix and balance in. And what I think works the best is there's no, like, this wasn't reported. Like, there wasn't like a, even like day of somebody's posting, oh, R-Truth's in the building or whatever. That it's not getting spoiled for us, whether that's because the WWE is keeping tight-lipped with it and not letting the sheets know, or they're telling the sheets wrong things. I think being surprised as a wrestling fan, whether we were worked or not worked, whatever, I'm just happy that we're able to have these things happen again, as opposed to where you would, when someone's debuting and or like, you see the Jericho countdown clock and, I wondered what that was for a week. Yeah, exactly. And it works really well. And for that of it, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would say for me, I probably give this one a 2.5, but maybe a 2.75, but probably go 2.5 on it.
That one 2.5.
Yeah. And then I just had to leave this as the final picture of the Money in the Bank show, just because, I did watch the press conference. I usually, because I'm in the West Coast, the post show, it's only like 8:30 for me. So I usually just put it on in the background. Don't really watch every little detail of it, but I almost always watch Triple H in the interviews because it's just fun. Like, you can tell he's kayfabing what he needs to. I still think it's funny how people sometimes they think they're not kayfabe, but overall, Money in the Bank was a solid show for sure. I definitely enjoyed it. I guess that's my review of it.
I enjoyed it. Yeah. I enjoyed the weekend.
I was just going to say the whole day. I mean, that was a lot. That was 3 p.m. Eastern to like almost 11 Eastern. Like, that's a lot. That was a long time of it, but they did very well, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. That's for sure. All right, so I guess we might as well talk about the fallout from Money in the Bank, which was Monday Night Raw, and we have a bit of a special way of reviewing the show from yesterday here, because just for some craps and grins, it was here in Phoenix, Arizona, and that's your boy waving his arm. That's me. I made it into the audience. I got to, and somehow it's made it onto screen, so that was funny. But yeah, Monday Night Raw was here in Phoenix, Arizona. I didn't make the decision until about 90 minutes before the show if I was going to go or not, mostly because I had to go by myself because my buddy who I normally go with wasn't able to go. And then I got 2 other friends in Arizona that are pretty big wrestling fans, but neither of them could go. One of them wasn't even in town. So made the decision last minute. But when I looked online, I'm pretty sure that the ticket that I got was one of the ones where they add a few sections after once they've got the stage set up, because here's the first picture I'll show that I took from my angle. I was kind of off to the side there. If you notice in the video there was nothing behind me, because that section area was like where the suites would start and be like the whatever they call the little bar area that they have for the people that get to hang out in the suites. So I couldn't see the front Tron, but they had the minimal stage set. It was really cool with Gorilla being right there and seeing them set up the fireworks or the fire for Seth Rollins. That's what if you look on the screen right there, there's like the black box with the square in it towards the front. That's where Seth's fire came out of. And I haven't felt fire like that at a WWE show since the old days of Kane and his fire, because I remember going to some shows in the early 2000s with those. But thought it was a cool way of starting off the show, having Cena come out in his Phoenix gear. What was the Suns colors and Suns lettering, which made sense because it was the Suns Arena. But it was cool to see him come out as somebody who, I mean, I've been going to wrestling shows. The first show I ever went to was in September of 2000. So I've been a fan John Cena's entire career. I'm also one of the adults who always liked Cena personally, simply because I went to a show in either 2005 or 2006 and somehow scalped a ticket where I was third row up and we were the seats right in the aisle. So we got to have them shake our hands when they were coming out. Quick side note about that. My buddy who was with me for that show, I don't know if you remember the Highlanders, Robbie and Rory, the Scottish Highlanders, one of them who was at the TNA show that got him fired or whatever. I forget which one of them, but one of them slapped my friend's hand so hard that the sound like popped in my ear and the palm of his hand was completely red from one of those crazy Islanders. But at the end of that show, Cena was in the dark match main event. He was walking back up the aisle and I was shouting at him, and I had a Boston Red Sox t-shirt on, and I held that up, and he turned, pointed at me, walked over, shook my hand, gave me a knuckle, and walked. And I was the only person whose hand he shook. And so I've always liked John Cena because of that personally, but this was cool to see. Even more so cool to see was that CM Punk interrupted him, and we got to see John Cena CM Punk face off. So, got to feel like I was in my, late 20s, early 30s again, but it was a pretty cool opening segment. And then Seth and his crew came out and interrupted them. But, overall it was a good opening segment. The crowd, they were into it for sure. Very interesting coming out of that CM Punk will be wrestling in Saudi Arabia versus John Cena. I'm seeing a lot of people online trying to consider this as a win because back in, I think it was 2019 or late 2019 or early 2020, where he said the thing that he said to Miz about a blood-soaked, dick. But I'm not that surprised that he's going to it now. I mean, not only do people evolve and change as they, get older, but I always felt like that was more of him just being a dick to the Miz versus, Saudi Arabia specifically. And with what he said on his own Instagram of, I have no problem with the people of Saudi Arabia. I just have an issue with some of the things their politics has been. But I'm excited to see that match coming in. I think that's going to be on June 28th, I believe is when that is. That's Saturday.
I do not know.
Yeah.
I do know CM Punk's getting paid quite handsomely to go, though, I bet.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sure he's paid quite handsomely, just period. What I did like about this picture, though, too, is that you can see the little Raw mic stand thing that he took out. If you look in the back of the ring there, he took that off and put it on the ground. And I always like how he does that. Talks about the logo on it. But it's a good opening segment. I don't know. I kind of have just been rambling here since I was the one who was at the show. And damn it, I was excited. I had a really good time. It was a fun experience. But is there anything you had to add to
this Raw review is going to be all you because I wasn't
fair enough. Fair enough.
I was waning in and out to begin with anyway. I was really tired, but I saw it all. I enjoyed the show completely, but I wanted to hear your take on it. So
no, for sure.
Relax.
The difference of somebody being in the crowd for sure. The other thing too, as I mentioned earlier in the show, and as people know that I was at the SmackDown on January 3rd, there was considerably more people in the arena for this one. Like there was people in the entire upper bowl, like even behind the trunk. So I'm not sure exactly what they could see, but they were celebrating and pumped the whole time. I put a couple videos up on my X account, and I'll do that more tonight after we finish up recording and stuff. I'll put more of because I took some videos purposely of showing the entire crowd. Like it was I think they said something around 14,000 people in that arena. And I mean, it's a good size NBA arena, but it's not like a new one. It opened in either 91 or 92. You know, it was whenever Charles Barkley came here to Phoenix to lose the NBA finals to Michael Jordan. But it was definitely more packed than I had seen it. They had 3 different merch stands. One of them was in like a outside covered area. One of them was right in the front. And then one of them was kind of like more in the middle of the concourse, at least from what I saw in the downstairs area. From the time I walked in, I went and got a beer. I went to the bathroom, and I went and got a sandwich, actually. So all 3 of those times, everywhere was completely, the line would be around the corner, and you'd see just a line of people. What are they like? Oh, merch. Like I can't imagine how much merch they sold. I mean, it was utterly impressive. And every single kid under the age of 16 either has a Yeet hat, shirt, glasses. Most of them had all 3. But
they're making a killing on that.
Oh God, it's out of control. And they're smart enough too with the local promotions. Like there was obviously the Cena stuff with the local Suns, but there was like a Phoenix 316 shirt with like the Steve Austin font, but instead of being in white, it had like the Suns logo behind it. There was a Rhea Ripley shirt, jersey, or something. Like I purposely just stay away from the merch. I don't have it's just not more money I need to be investing as someone who turns 43 on the 19th of June. But it is cool to see and awesome for them for sure. The women's fatal 4-way was great. Liv Morgan came out and did a little, cut a little, not so much a promo, but kind of messed with the crowd and showed off her belt and, you know, played a really great heel. Well, I really did enjoy watching this match as someone in the crowd, because I was paying a lot of attention to Liv and Roxanne, and they were the entire time, you could see it where Roxanne was like earning Liv's trust. And I watched it happen when Roxanne waited, and you could see her waiting there and plotting her timeout, where a move was hit, boom, she came in and stole the match and made a lot of sense. She made the perfect sense to be the one to advance out of this match. I mean, Kairi Sane, I guess, could have made sense, but, you know, Rhea and Liv don't really need to be in the Queen of the Ring tournament. They're kind of above that. What I also thought was great was, I mean, I guess they kind of spoiled the return a bit, but they also want to promote it, is that Asuka's coming back. Asuka will be in the women's fatal 4-way match that they're adding into this one for next week. And when they showed her video package in the arena, got a huge pop. Side note, the only video package that got a bigger pop, Mr. Iguana.
Of course.
I mean, yeah, there's obviously a good, healthy Hispanic audience here in Phoenix, but, you know, just in general, like the moment that guy's logo popped out, just woo! I didn't get a lot of pictures of the next situation because Becky came out and I knew it was going to be a promo, and that was when I went and got a beer. And as I was coming back down was when Bailey came out, which was cool to see. But then R-Truth came out and, you know, had my hands full, so I couldn't get a picture of it. But he came out and cut his promo, cut his hair. That was one of those moments of a good amount of shock in the audience. Like we were cheering Bailey coming out, and then Ron got on the table. And the moment we all knew it was like, the moment he jumped on the table, I actually didn't see him jump on the table. I was drinking my beer and I heard the people next to me and beside me, truth. And you look up and saw him there before he pulled his hood back. But it's just cool to be able to say I was in the audience for that. I mean, Ron Killings cutting his hair is going to be a moment that people remember. So that was cool. The men's fatal 4-way was awesome too. Dom is super over, whether people want to boo him or they cheer him. The guy gets a reaction. I couldn't help but cheer him. I just, you know, even though he's a little dirty, just the progression that he's made. We talked about it when we did the review of Money in the Bank. Like that was kind of where I was cheering for him. Sammy got a nice big pop. I just like this picture with Penta and Sammy and Dom in the ring. My favorite picture that I took of the evening is this one. Braun and Paul Heyman coming out just looking like badasses with that.
Boy, he looks huge even in your pictures.
Right?
Poor Paul. He's gonna explode.
Yeah. Have you ever heard his interview with Rick Rubin? On Rick Rubin's podcast? It's a total sidebar, but
no.
If you have, I highly recommend anybody listen to that. It's wherever you get your podcast. But I mean, Rick Rubin's a good interviewer, and Heyman really opens up to him. But Heyman talks about why he's fat. The reason he says it, his mom was a survivor of the Holocaust, and her favorite thing to do was to see her son eat and be happy. And that's what he's always done. And at one point in his life, his metabolism went, fuck you, buddy. And so, but yeah, no, it's a hefty boy.
Just from a men's health point of view, though, he should start trying to.
I wholeheartedly agree. Especially with the travel and everything. Yeah. Like, I mean, even if it's like a stomach staple or something. Yeah. Cause selfishly, I want him around for as long as possible. He's great. One of those things, like when you see, for me at least, seeing Breaker getting this time with Heyman, where they're traveling or whatever, like, just that's the greatest gift he can get, and more people need that. So yeah, I'm an advocate for Paul Heyman to stay alive and be as healthy as he can be. So then what happened, obviously Sammy won the match, which I got some good videos of, but I didn't want to show them here and possibly get dinged by WWE for copyright violations. But as Gunther came out to do his entrance, that was when I took my chance to go to the bathroom. I come out of the bathroom, and literally less than 100 feet to my left is Jay entering from the concourse. I don't know if you guys can see him, but if you see where it says 104 and the Yeet, just look down. There's Jay. I've got a couple other pictures as well, but like, you turn around, you see a giant crowd there, and you're like, oh no shit. It was the best.
People came all the way here to see me leave the bathroom. Right? Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Everything came out okay. No, it's just, I mean, it was a very lucky day for me. I'm very happy that I was one of those things that just kind of all ended up working out. But I mean, that was super cool. And as I told people when I went and saw SmackDown on January 3rd, that was when I finally understood the Yeet thing. Like, as a man in his 40s, I wasn't like against it, like, no, Yeet, this is stupid, but I didn't really click with me. I was in the audience when it was Jay, Jimmy, and Sammy, and Lily had announced them as Jay, Jimmy, and Sammy, the Usos, and the whole crowd was doing it, and you just got into it, and Sammy was doing his dumb little stupid dancing that he does, and it just clicked for me. But being able to see this in person here this way, and then this is a pretty good picture of what I mean. I mean, look at that. Like, he's somewhere making his way down, because I was in section 124 and he came down section 122. So it's right there. But it's just like, I mean, come on. Just like everybody doing it and the arms in the air and every
it's cool they put the lights up like that too. That's neat.
No, you could, exactly. Like, it makes sense of why, because everybody's into it. And I mean, also too, selfishly for them, I mean, do you see an empty seat in that motherfucker? Because
that's what I was just looking at. Like, on my computer, I can actually add a touch screen, so I can kind of zoom in with my fingers.
Yeah,
I'm like, no, I can't.
Yeah, right. And I mean, obviously, that's like,
oh, there are a couple.
I mean, like, sure, but I mean, like, there's no empty sections. Like, they sold, and that upper bowl, it was the entire thing. Usually there's like a portion of it that's blocked off because it's an obstructed view or whatever.
They're filled to the top row. I'm looking right now. They're filled to the top row.
Yeah, no, and it was a packed house. Like I said, they had over 14,000 in there. And when I was at SmackDown in January, it seemed sold out and it was a packed house, but there was definitely an upper level, like 2 or 3 sections that just were blocked off because of the angles or whatever. It's one of if they can sell them, they'll just make the stage smaller and smaller. And I
think the Raws sell more than the SmackDown shows do. Same thing happened in Buffalo. My son went. Same thing. Okay. SmackDown looked like it was sold out, but Raw had more people.
Right. Well, and they're sold out for what they set up for the arena. And honestly, if you're just blocking out those top sections because of viewing, it is a sellout. But if you're able to, like, that's what they do. They sell what they can. And it's like, okay, there's still more of a demand. Let's open these sections. And I'm 95% sure that's what I got, because the row I was in, it wasn't even really a row. It was 3 seats that was like, they were supposed to be there, but you can tell like they would have had them blocked off. Because I mean, like I said, I couldn't see the front Tron at all. We had a great view of the King and Queen of the Ring crowns, but it was just they sold every seat they could in that bad boy. But I still had great seats, great view. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I was the outcome of the main event was surprising. I had said many times I didn't think Jay was leaving with the title, but I didn't think Gunther was either. I thought Jay was going to eke out a win against Gunther and just be beaten down as he can be, and Seth was going to come out and cash it in. But Gunther wins, which also I thought this was a really cool shot too, with the pyro and all that. They were smart too. They waited until he won to set that pyro up. Because like he won and they ran and then because I remember actually at the SmackDown in January, I didn't know, but we thought Tiffany was going to come in and cash in because after the two entrances, we saw them setting up like these pyro things, just like those square things on the bottom there. And you kind of knew that was going to be pyro for something. And especially when Tiffany came out, you knew that was going to be this one. They waited till after the match, and like 3 guys brought those things out so they could have the pyro at the end, but it wasn't spoiled. But I mean, there were definitely some sad kids in the house, but Jay did cut a really good impassioned promo at the end. I tried to upload it to Twitter, but it didn't work. It's about 3 minutes long. I thought that time was still legal on Twitter, but maybe it was cut off or whatever. But it's a very, very good promo. I will try to post it again online, and maybe I can do it from my laptop. But it was a great show. Totally worth. I mean, bang for your buck. Like, you couldn't ask for much better. And again, even live, the 2.5-hour show is perfect. We were excited to get everything through, but once it was over, it was happy to get out of there and go home. But I 10 out of 10 would go again. I highly recommend if WWE is in your area and you can afford it. Obviously, with the ticket prices, not everybody can afford it. I had a budget in mind, and I was hoping to get in the lower level. And I have a bad knee, so I like to be on the aisle. I would rather be able to turn and move as opposed to walking over people. So an aisle seat for under $120, lower level, done. One of, if not the best last minute decisions I've ever made. Definitely the best of 2025. But that's my going to Raw review. Keep a lookout for the page. I'm going to look into the legalities of what I'm allowed to do, but I don't think they really care about the fan footage. I took some decent videos. I'm going to try to put something together.
If it's your own stuff, you can do what you want with it.
Yeah, and I honestly, that's how I learn and get better anyway, is trying stuff out. So might take me a little while, but I'm going to try to edit some stuff together and see if I can put a little AltJake's Raw experience together. And hey, maybe somebody from WWE will see it. We can get one of those affiliate links or something. We are happy to take sponsorships and affiliate links for sure. But that's my Raw review. Anything you wanted to kind of add to or what you thought about Raw?
I was really wanting to hear your point of it, your point of view of it, because like I said, I was kind of in and out all night.
Yeah.
So.
No, and it's always cool when somebody goes to the show is different. I know that, when Phil was it Paul Nelson on PWT talking about going to a show or whatever. It's definitely a fun experience and a communal thing. And one of the big reasons of why we love wrestling. And also too, I'm going by myself. That's something I've done with a lot of wrestling shows. So you're kind of nervous about that. But the 2 guys that sat next to me were awesome. It was very, very cool. They also bought their tickets. I told them I bought my ticket about 3:30. They're like, oh yeah, us too. So I'm 99% sure those tickets that we got went on sale right before. So, or right that day. So if it comes to your area and it seems like they're selling well, keep an eye on Ticketmaster, because it wasn't a reseller ticket that we got either. It was direct Ticketmaster. We only paid a Ticketmaster fee and it was face value. So, but yeah, that is my Raw review. Good times had by all for sure. Yeah, but I think that's probably a good place for us to end episode 16 here. As always, everybody, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, interact. All of that kind of stuff helps the algorithm. I've seen people be like, oh, I'm afraid, I left a couple of comments. I feel bad. Like Jamie Earhart. Like, dude, comment as much as you want, as often as you want. I will try to respond to everyone that I can. Keep a lookout for the Sunday night spaces, whether you catch them live on X, the replays here through YouTube. I try to clip them into bits, but also the full length ones seem to do well. Also keep an eye out on your favorite podcast feeds. I am working on that as well to get our audio onto the Twitter or Spotify. Apple Music. I don't know all the ways people watch or listen to podcasts. I'm much more of a Spotify guy, but Yeah, anything else you wanted to add before we close it up here today, my friend?
No, perfect episode 16.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time.